What's up, everybody? I'm back with another, not a gaming video, not a game review, as you would expect. This is a topic that I've kind of been thinking about for a while, and I kind of wanted to get out there and kind of see what you guys are thinking about this. But it's about the Nintendo Switch. This guy right here, Nintendo Switch. As you guys know, it just recently turned 7, or not 7, 6. And it's been going quite strong. There's a very strong game lineup for it. A lot of popularity around the system. But as we know, but I think this year's Nintendo Direct, or like this last Nintendo Direct, was a good indication. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that might be time for a new system. And I want to see if that's really true. If that's the case, do we need a new system? Is the Switch really going to be going soon? What's going on with it? Are we getting a new system? I kind of want to answer some of that, or at least like throw it out there, my thoughts. But first, let's run some. Let's first run some numbers here. And we'll take the numbers of the years between each major Nintendo console. Now the Switch is a hybrid. The Switch was revolutionary from this Switch. This Switch I got in 2020, by the way, not 2017. So it's been 3 years now, because we got it right after COVID started. So, but this, it was released 2017. It's the first hybrid console, meaning you can play it on the go, play it at home, on a big screen if you like. No other console's really done that. We see more of it now on the portable side with the Steam Deck and that kind of stuff. And that kind of thing. But we haven't seen anything big like the Switch before. So the novelty kind of wore off a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the years between Nintendo consoles. We're going to go with the home systems first. The handheld systems, I would like to run the numbers on those too, but that fandom has kind of died out with the mobile gaming, and it would not be very accurate numbers because you have to think, oh, do I include every single version of the Game Boy? Do I include every single version of the DS and the 3DS? No. We're just going to go handhelds. We're going to go home systems since that's more what the Switch fits into. It fits into both, obviously. If it's more than that. So NES, SNES was 6 years. And then there was 5 years between the SNES and the N64, as well as the N64 and the Game Boy, GameCube, and then the GameCube and the Wii. All 5-year differences. And then it was 6 again for the Wii and the Wii U, and then it was 5 for the Wii U and the Switch. You run the averages on those numbers, get you to just over, a little over 5 years. But as we know, it's been 6 years since the Switch came out, and if we're getting a new Nintendo console in 2024, it will be at least 7 years, because it's not coming out this year, okay? That's, if anybody was hoping for that, it would have already been announced. We already know about it. It's not coming out this year, guys. It's coming out 2024, so it'll be at least 7 years, which is a record. And I think that stays, that's a pretty big thing, like, that makes a lot of sense. The Wii U was a failure in Nintendo's eyes. So they kind of rushed out a new console a little bit earlier. As we know, it came out 3 years earlier than the other consoles in the competing generation, the Series X and the PS5. And it also did really well. Like I said, it was a mix of a handheld system and a home system. We had the 3DS. That was the last handheld. It was been 6 years since that. 7 before the DS, and then go 14 years all the way back to the Game Boy. And it succeeded. It had a great lineup. They had a very large library of games because they ported all the really good Wii U games over to the Switch, as well as making new games for it. So they had plenty of games to work with, and it overall just went really well. They updated new models. Obviously, it's not the original model that they stuck with for all these years. Of course, they did the OLED, and they updated the modern one, the normal one as well. So it's not like different, or it's not like they just kept one and kept running with it. No, but obviously, a little over 5 years means we're long overdue for another Nintendo console. And I think the well has finally ran dry on the Switch's power over the gaming world in this generation. One, because it had a 3-year head start, which means it's going to have a 3-year end to it. It's not as powerful as the other two systems, and the novelty is kind of worn off with, the Steam Deck and other stuff coming along. So, and I think that was kind of a sign that was kind of shown in this last Nintendo Direct. The only major game coming this year that we know of so far for the Switch is Pikmin 4, which I am on July 21st. I am ready. Let's get it out now. I'm super excited for that game. But nothing really major. There's no major holiday title either. There's still some room for stuff to add, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything massive if they do go that route. They've already got the major Mario title on here. They already got the major Zelda title. They've already ported all the big Wii U games over. They got and of course, that included the Mario Karts and the Smash, and now they got the Pikmin 4, which was big, and a bunch of other stuff that they already worked out with. So it's had a lot of third-party support too. That kind of ran dry on that. For me personally, other than Pikmin 4, the only game that I want to get for the Switch that I don't have is South Park: The Fractured But Whole, which at the time of this video coming out, I don't know when I'm going to release this video. It might already be. I already have it. I don't really have that large of a Switch library compared to my other consoles. So I guess it kind of says something, but the games I have for it, really enjoy for it. And like I said, it's not as powerful. It hasn't dealt with many severe long-term issues with it in its lifetime. That's due to them upgrading it, the battery life, and whatever. The Joy-Cons, obviously the drifting for the Joy-Cons is still the big one. They got rid of the warping and the scratching of the screens because of the dock and whatnot, and so it's not really that big an issue. I guess all that coming together means they really didn't need to rush out another new system. Because I also think because the Series X and the PS5 released in 2020, you would have been coming on 2022, 2023, which is this year, for a new system. People might have already thought, oh, why would I get this when I can just keep the PS5 or the Series X? Might not sold as well. That might have been one reason. Two, the Switch was still selling well, and but it's getting near that point, I think. So really, Nintendo has two routes to take. One, they stick with the Switch, and they have to start ramping up the game production for it again. I think it's time for another Mario title. Might be time for a new Mario Party. A new Smash game has been rumored for a long time. But I don't think they're going to get a new Smash game for the Switch. I think that's going to be on the next system, whenever that may be. A new Mario Kart, same thing. I think that's probably going to be on the next system. A new Mario Party would be interesting. I believe there's one on the Switch. I don't remember at the top of my head. Of course, we're getting a new Pikmin, so that's on the Switch. Not an issue there. Maybe a new Mario Maker, but really the fandom of Mario Maker already kind of died out, even though it did sell pretty well on the Switch. But really, we're looking for a new Mario title and a new Zelda title. Now, a new Zelda title is not going to happen, I think. There's just so much. The only two systems that got two new Zelda titles were the NES Zelda 1 and 2 and the N64 Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, I think it's called. That's it. And so that was 30 years ago almost, the N64. So, which is fucking crazy to think about. But, so probably not going to happen. But a new Mario title could be possible. We've seen Bowser's Fury. We've seen, a few other smaller titles, but nothing on the level of Mario Odyssey. And since those were released the year the system came out, that Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, I think it's time for another system, another go around to those games, because it's going to be 6 years, almost 7 probably by the time, because they're not even announcing them. We don't even know they're in production or whatnot. So they could go the other route. They could actually make a new system. They could release a new Mario Kart, a new Smash, a new Mario game, new Zelda, whatever the fuck else they want to add. But the question then becomes, what's the system going to look like? How is it going to sell? When are we going to see this thing? Because the Switch was really good, but it wasn't perfect. Okay. The Joy-Con drift, it had every console's going to have some hardware issues at the beginning. Most do. So I can't really... They fixed the warping and the screen thing, whatever, and then... but really, also, it's going to be weird because the Switch did cartridges, which was the first time they did Nintendo did cartridges since the N64, meaning backwards compatibility for Wii U games is gone. I would like them to see if they do the new system, they're probably going to do backwards compatibility for Switch games. That's probably going to happen in some capacity. I feel like they probably will stick with the cartridges since they worked. I don't see why they wouldn't. They might refine the design of them. They might make them a little bigger. They might make them a little more, like, refined, because I know there's probably fucking people eating them, which was weird as fuck. They taste awful. I've actually got, like, you can get the stuff on your finger, and then you lick your finger. Fucking awful. I don't even want to lick one of the fucking cartridges. That's how bad it is. But they probably do that. I would also like to see backwards compatibility for DS and 3DS games, since they use cartridges. They would have to make they would have to make the size bigger, but I think it could be done. They did it with GameCube and the Wii, different sizes. Obviously, those discs probably a little easier to do that. I think this could be done though. That's what I'd like to see. They're probably going to go with a more refined controller style than the Joy-Cons. Those really didn't take off like they thought they were going to. They did have motion controls added. Nobody really uses them for motion controls in most games. Most people really stuck with the Pro Controller anyways, because they've been rocking with those last two systems, the Wii U and the Switch. So they're definitely going to have to try and one-up that. And then, like I said, the game selection's probably going to be fine, at least for first-party stuff. And if they can stick well with the third-party stuff, I think they'll be fine. Unless, So for my answer, I would not be mad of a new system. But I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's needed yet. It's definitely coming. Because we're exiting the PS5 and Xbox Series X major hype window. That's coming to an end in the next year or two. Then it'll be open. The door will open for a new system to take hold for Nintendo, because they're kind of off sync with Sony and Microsoft now. So they're gonna have to figure out how to get that done. But yeah, I don't think it's necessary. Switch is still rocking fine. This Switch is doing awesome. This green Joy-Con starting to fuck up. The other three I have are fine. The Pro Controller is amazing. Everything's doing great there, so I'm not worried about that at all. But it's definitely going to be coming soon. But I don't think we have to worry about that just yet, especially this year. I think Pikmin 4 will help keep the Switch alive a little bit longer, and I think they've got another big title coming. I don't know what it is. I would assume, like I said, it's another Mario Party, or maybe something. I would love for them to try and revive some older series like Metroid, Star Fox, something like that. That's probably not going to happen, but they could shock the world with that to keep the Nintendo Switch alive. Or they could resurrect those on the new console too. That would be awesome. But that's something I've always been thinking about, though, and I'd like to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below, if you think that's actually going to happen or not. When could we see a new Nintendo console? When could we, when or if, or like how long does the Switch have left? What could be done to keep it going? What could we see with the new console? What do you think it could look like? I'd like to know your thoughts about that in the comment section down below. That's going to do it with this video. Stay tuned for much more amazing content. Till next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.